Hello guys, it's Claymore here, and welcome back to the CLAYCAST, number 2. So, a fair bit has been going on, and if you've been keeping track of my social medias, Discord announcements, etc., there's a bit to talk about, but the majority of this CLAYCAST, at least, will be about one particular topic. But before I begin on that topic, I just want to say thank you for being patient whilst I have been ill. Unprecedented, for me at least. Last month in December 2022, I caught one of the flu strains that were going around. It was quite a nasty chest infection kind of deal. I was out of action for about 7 days in total for that. And literally for the past 10 days, I've been ill with the flu again. One was a man flu, one was a regular flu, I guess, I don't know. But this one was more of a head flu. It wasn't really on my chest. And it's been bloody awful. I felt really run down. And it was hard for me to get the energy to do anything, videos, streaming, even playing games, just whilst I was trying to get better. It seemed like a really big chore. But today I am feeling much better now. I'm like 80% of the way there. Still got some lingering stuff. You might hear it in my voice, but well enough to do a video and well enough to stream as well. So thank you for being patient with me. And apologies again for the irregular schedule all around. It has been completely unintentional. Now, admittedly, holidays were quite busy, extra shifts, and then with on top of that, the illness as well really threw things out of whack. But now that I'm out of this second flu, and I'm hoping that won't be a third flu, we're back to a bit more of a normal time. So once again, thank you and apologies for any disruption. So you've seen the video title, and for those of you who didn't see it, I formally pretty much announced me quitting, at least for the very long time, Escape from Tarkov. I did it over a video form over on my YouTube channel. And the point of the video, for me personally at least, wasn't to kind of like stir the pot. It wasn't to kind of like slander BSG or attack the game, attack people, anything like that. The point was to express my concerns and my disappointments with the game, the community, and ultimately seek a bit of closure with leaving the game. Because as much as I didn't play pretty much the entirety of the previous wipe to this one, I was still technically taking a break. I was still very much on the fence about coming back. I came back and I played about a week of the wipe, and yeah, couldn't do it. This was a video. The intention was more for closure. The video currently right now is not far off 2,000 views. I didn't expect the video itself, with me just talking about me quitting Tarkov and my reasons being to lift off like that. Because like I said, it wasn't really intended to pop off. It was more as a means of finding closure for myself and letting my friends, my viewers, my community, let them know thoroughly and truly why I've quit. That was the intention behind it. It was also the best medium for me to do it as well. Twitter isn't the best place for that. And, you know, in DMs and stuff like that, it's fair, but it felt like a way more of an appropriate way to kind of like announce it. And for the most part, the video did get some pretty positive reception. People were very understanding, and people were, you know, sharing their own experiences and their own opinions in the game, you know, in a very, as much as neutral manner, I guess you could say. There obviously were people who were just, you know, there to bear in the YouTube comments, like YouTube commenters usually are, just to cause a bit of a stirrer. But hey, it's all good for the algorithm, right? So they help me by doing what they do. So after this video, I have personally noticed a bit of a trend going on right now. So I covered a bunch of stuff in the video. I'm not going to go too deep into it because, well, frankly, if you want to watch the video, it's there. It covers everything I think is not great about the game, not great about the community. So if you want to check that out, go ahead. I'm only going to dip my toes into certain elements of it. But one thing that I had an issue with, in particular, was what felt like and what, through the lens of things, seemed like toxic positivity in the community. What I mean by toxic positivity is, you know, you've got your regular positivity, which is like you just try and look at the bright side of things, silver linings, etc. You know, you stay upbeat, but, when something does happen, sometimes you shift over to a bit more realistic. Whereas toxic positivity is, now I don't have the official dictionary definition for it because I don't think it has one, but essentially it is you are either positive or you are a hater or you are just being a negative Nancy and you're trying to ruin people's fun and you need to leave, essentially is the summary of what toxic positivity is. And it's always the same kind of response to people who critique something with a community with this element. Now, obviously, I'll keep saying this because people like to think this is the case. The entire community and the people within it aren't bad. Plenty of good people in it. No dispute there. But the same applies to a majority of people who have an issue with something in the game, if they're expressing frustration. It's always the same thing. It's always, well, if you're not enjoying it, stop playing. And, well, there's no use whining about it over social media, so why bother posting this and all this other stuff. Now, I have sounds a bit aggressive. I have critiqued other people in the past for doing this, but my critique didn't really lie on the premise that they were there to complain. It was mostly because of the way they were presented. They weren't just saying, okay, this is an issue. This needs to change. Battle state, what's going on? The people I targeted usually were people who were going a bit above that. They're making it personal. They were being insulting, being genuinely toxic. And I was, reminding them and trying to ground them. It's not on me to do that, but, like people critique me and I take it on board and I try to be better. I like to think other people can do that too. And, for the most part, it went pretty well. People came away feeling a bit wiser. Sometimes it didn't go so well. Sometimes, people just aren't salvageable, at least in certain respects. But as a content creator, when you love a game and there's something very annoying and frustrating happening within it, it's possibly the worst thing to be told to just stop playing. Because we're not dumb, right? We're not dumb. We have our limits. As human beings, we have our limits. And once we reach them, we do stop playing. We do take a break. We do reevaluate our perspective on things. And, that it doesn't need to be said. Like, if the person is ready to quit or take a break, they will. They will. Otherwise, it'll reach a boiling point. They'll say something or do something they'll regret later, and then they'll take a break or reevaluate their options. It's such a brain dead, disingenuous, non-caring reply that makes me wonder why they even bother to reply that to begin with. And I've gotten it. Other people have gotten it, and not even for anything as major as critiquing the game in quite a major way. Just people simply complaining about a certain thing, like the cheaters. It's a really, really sad norm that has adopted into the community, but into also regarding play styles, also regarding other game communities too. It's not on. But people seem to also think that critique, negative or positive as it might be, constructive or otherwise, people seem to think that when people express their opinion about a game, and usually is negative, implies that anyone who reads that critique or feedback needs to stop having fun, needs to stop playing the game. It seems to be like an automatic interpretation of something like this. And, I think that if you're replying to a post that says, I can't believe people are playing this piece of shit game, why it's so broken, fair enough. They're actively attacking the game. They're actively attacking people's reasoning for playing the game. Fair enough. But about feedback about things that need fixing in the game, things that were changed that for the majority of people they don't like, like stuff that boils down to just reasonable feedback and talking about something and discussing about things they don't like. It's the same thing. It's the same thing I've noticed. And, even level-headed, reasonable streamers seem to come out and challenge me on this, talking about they don't want to see negativity on their feeds and they don't want to see this kind of stuff. And, saying like, well, just stop playing the game and stuff like that, of course. But, you know, that they don't want to see negativity. But when this negativity is based on stuff that is really happening, problems that are really existing in the game, you know, people are expressing their experiences about it and their opinions on it, and they want it to be better. They want the game to be better. You know, it boggles my mind how people will just deem that purely negative as well. Purely negative. It's bizarre to me. And you know, I was talking to a couple of big content creators, and I think I had a bit more of a reasonable ending to a discussion with one of them. But another one I was engaging on Twitter just didn't seem to budge. It was either stop talking shit about the game, stop being negative about the game. You know, we don't like seeing it. You know, and then judging me as a content creator for me doing that. Where I don't understand the reasoning for it. I don't understand the reasoning for it at all. And as much as I do agree, you know, that sometimes when you're having fun on something, even with the problems, and then other people are trying to have fun, but the problems bother them more, I understand that you might feel like a bit frustrated with the fact that they're not enjoying the same things to the same degree as you. But you don't look down on them for doing that. You don't look down on them and say, stop it, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this on my feed. Just stop playing the game if you hate it that much. As a content creator, you really do set the example. You are a for most players, a first point of contact for a game. You know, and I think people and streamers and otherwise tend to forget that. They tend to forget how, you know, sometimes they set the first impression for a game. And and I don't know if this is the right word to say it, when you gatekeep to that degree, when you tell people, I don't want to see this negativity anywhere near me, you know, just stop it. Just stop talking. Take it elsewhere. I don't want to see it. You're not putting yourself across as someone who's welcoming and engaging and interactive and open to different opinions. You know, and I know a lot of streamers like to say like, oh, they positive vibes only in this stream and stuff. But if you operate only by positivity, how can you emotionally mature yourself? You know, you have to take the good with the bad. You have to take the bad with the good. Yeah, that's life. You know, and I'm streaming. You know, a lot of people like to live the YouTube style where, you know, they try to present themselves through one lens, but people can't relate to you through that. They look to you less as a person they just genuinely vibe with, and they look to you more as just a source of entertainment. And there's nothing wrong with that. Per se, I know a lot of streamers who are perfectly good people with perfectly nice communities who do that. But then, you know, you get these extremes where, you know, you're just looking down on other people because they're differing of opinion than you, or they have a much bigger issue with the problems in the game right now. And I mean, this is from someone as well who I never would have saw it from, and I was very disappointed. It didn't end well. The conversation didn't end well, and yeah, it's a shame. It's unfortunate. But I have to beg one question. They say that they don't like seeing that negativity, so they clearly don't like to interact with that negativity, in their eyes at least. But they're actively going out of their way to engage with it. Now, I don't mind when people come to me and express their opinions about certain things that I talk about, I reply to, or otherwise. I don't mind that at all. Like, you know, if anybody who knows me knows I like a good chinwag, I like to talk about something. You know, because more often than not, common ground is found. People go away a little bit wiser, a little bit, you know, like they've had a good talk. But when you preach positivity, when you say only positivity in my streaming community, when you say I don't want to see negativity on my feed or anything like that, but then you go out of your way to engage with what you in your perspective is negativity, what does that say about you as a person? Where's the logic you're operating by there? If you don't like negativity, if you don't like it, and you're outright going out of your way to tell people to stop being negative, then yeah, where's the line that's drawn? Because you set a boundary, but then you've crossed that boundary yourself. and it does make me really, really think that people, when it comes to stuff and like feedback and everything, people just tend to take it personally because of their own position or feelings of the game. And I know, and I tweeted this out the other day, just because you critique something heavily or minor or whatever, doesn't mean that the person might necessarily hate the game, doesn't mean that they might necessarily want to stop playing. At the end of the day, the entire point of me playing Tarkov is because I wanted to see the game in the better place. And, it is in a better place. But, the biggest issue I had was the whole 1 step forward, 5 steps back kind of deal. We get cool things, we get cool content, we get much requested features, we get all this other good stuff. But then the other old issues, old or new, pop up, and it sours the experience. And, you have to remember one thing too. This has been happening for years and years and years. The continual souring of new content, new stuff, and everything like that. It gets a lot for some people, and you have to respect that. And even if you don't agree with it, like if you really are all about cultivating positivity in your community, you would make a conscientious effort to not engage with it. And once again, the negativity they think is negativity was just, in my context at least, talking about problems within the game with the wipe and saying that they need to be fixed. What's going on? Is everybody else experiencing this? That's pretty much the only thing. So, wasn't even negativity, more feedback. Just giving my feedback on things. And we saw, after the video came out, and I don't want to say that I begun something, but I did see a trend of other streamers starting to speak out regarding problems in the game and problems within the community too. Now, and I did actually have several people reach out to me in DMs and say, thank you for speaking in your mind. Some of us don't want to do it because we fear we might get ostracized from the community. And that really, really drove home to me. That really hit home, because the old Tarkov community that I remember and fell in love with would never do that. It's bound to happen when a game blows up and the community grows massive, that you're going to be having more of an issue with, negativity and idiots in the community, But that really hit home, the fact that people were almost afraid to speak their minds about a game of all things, lest other people look down on them. And honestly, I'm not surprised. I know several streamers who look down on me and others because we have a differing opinion on things, whether it's things within the game, changes made, or even just taking an issue of how these people, content creators or otherwise, compose themselves when they're talking about the game. And it's nuts how so quickly people alienate others just because of, honestly, a different opinion that's about a game. It's bewildering to me, but regardless, I saw a trend of more people speaking up on social medias, Discord, whatever. And one such case that I got a special attention to was Veritas. And Veritas was, Veritas is, in my opinion at least, one of the cornerstones of the Tarkov community, one of the genuine OGs. And, he, in all respects, he is essentially a scientist. He investigates flaws and faults within Tarkov systems to such a quality, to such a degree, and with such effort. No one can mirror that. You've got other people in the community who do test things and stuff, but not to the degree Veritas does. Veritas does it like he's organizing a science experiment. And I've always respected the hell out of him for doing that, because that is an extreme amount of energy and effort. And it shows, and it shows in his videos, it shows in his composure, it shows in everything. Excuse me, I got a bit of a cough. And he tweeted out the other day, and the tweet actually blew up quite a lot. And the quote reads, "The only thing worse than the state of EFT at the moment is the state of the community." Which is ironically something else I was talking about in great lengths in my video. And people seem to think that this statement meant, the state of the community is one thing, but they seem to conflate this statement with all of the people within the community. Like it was something that needed to be said. And it boggles my mind how many people completely missed the point of this tweet. The thing's got 1.6k likes on it. Like 250 odd comments, like a lot of engagement. And there were not just people, not just players or random Twitter users commenting on it, but there were so many streamers who just completely missed the point of it, saying like, "Oh, we're not all bad," and this is an L take, and like this is just super negative and everything like that. Once again, missing the point entirely. And this happened, and the absolute best thing about it, in my opinion, is that it covers it pretty much exactly what me and Veritas and others think. In the issues we have, it highlighted the exact problems. It brought those problem attitudes and composures and everything else, behaviors, up to the surface and exposed it for everyone to see. And a lot more exposure to this was brought as a result of it. And then, who knows? Maybe that in turn helped the video that I made. I don't know. But, I engaged with a lot of these people in Veritas's comments because I'm actually quite a long time supporter of Veritas. I lurk in a lot of his streams, hang in them a fair bit. As a lot of you know, I'm not fully active in a lot of streams, but Veritas is one of the few I am active in. And, the guy, I think, he can be a bit of a grumpy bugger sometimes. He knows that. He can be a bit blunt sometimes. He knows that too. But with the amount of stuff and the exposure he has to deal with from this part of the community, the Tarkov community, nobody can blame him. Absolutely nobody can blame him. Even the most composed people will definitely feel a little bit grumpier after that. So yeah, that Twitter thread blew up and stuff like that, and yeah, he made another good point as well. The fact that if you shared your genuine thoughts and opinions on Tarkov in front of the community, you'd likely get the same reaction. You'd likely be, it's the Rotten Tomato effect, not the site. Like throwing Rotten Tomatoes at someone, like up on a pedestal where like they're in the what do you call it? The things where you stick your head and your arms through. So, cascade. So, I don't know. Either way, like people will just like throw shit at you when you put yourself out there on the social forum for Tarkov because you have a differing opinion. And we're not even talking about like pretty extreme stuff, like pretty dumb, genuinely dumb stuff. Nonsensical stuff. We're talking about, oh, well, I think this is a problem in this game and I think it needs fixing because X, Y, and Z. That's why, man. It's crap. It's mad. And, moving on and stuff like that, Glorious then chimed in after this. Glorious E, literally one of the most wholesome, cool, kind, big streamers on the scene. Not just for Tarkov, the scene, the Twitch scene. And even he's saying like, I'm not, and I agree, he's not into drama, he's not into everything else. But he was talking about, well, when the hell did we all start hating each other so much or ripping on each other so much? Glorious of all people said that. Anyway, I don't even care what you say. When Glorious comes out and says, what the fuck are you guys doing, Tarkov community? Yeah. Something's up. And then last but not least, talking about another instance of the community after something else came out, NoiceGuy. If you don't know who NoiceGuy is, you're living under a rock. He's probably one of the, in my opinion, one of the biggest reporters on the scene of Tarkov. There are some very, very good reporters out there, but I would like to at least kind of think that he is, for the most part, the original reporter guy. He's got his own streamer item in the game. And he likes, I've we've teased him a little bit before about, some of his, his wild conspiracies and stuff like that. But I think that's part of a lot of the fun is, kind of get your tinfoil hats on together and just have a good bit of a fun time thinking wildly. It's not a bad thing at all. False information is one thing, and like he and other reporters, sometimes you get a story wrong, or you read it wrong, you look into it wrong. You have to make a correcting statement, but that's pretty minor in the grand scheme of things. So from my understanding, there was a big issue with, or it's not a big issue, but there was a lot of scrutiny about a Tarkov player who was, from my understanding, the highest level. He had completed a lot of the end game content. His stats were absolutely insane for the amount of time and effort into the game he put in. And after sharing his stats and stuff like that, a lot of attention from other streamers and players came to it and wondered if the guy was cheating. Turns out he was, at the end of the day. Not a big deal. But nobody had any video evidence for it. We only had the stats. The stats were pretty insane. Pretty insane, all things considered. But at the end of the day, we had no real video evidence to go off to suggest it. I think there was one person who said that they were a bit weirded out by their stream, which is now deleted as well, by the way, because they would often go and be right back, put a different scene up, and then come back and then frag out. It's hard to say. I haven't reviewed any of the clips themselves, but the evidence speaks for itself. The guy's banned on Tarkov, the guy's deleted his account or banned on Twitch, I think, or deleted his account on Twitch, and then he's deleted his Twitter account as well. But NoiceGuy, because this was still in the early days, no one really knew what was going on with this guy. NoiceGuy says that he doesn't think he's cheating. He's just insane. And a lot of people took issue with this. A lot of people really came after NoiceGuy for having this take. Just because he said he doesn't think he's cheating. Let's give it a bit longer to get some evidence. That's insane to me. That's absolutely crazy to me. And the amount of hate he got, for just putting forward this opinion, pretty much drove him to a snapping point. I'm not going to go too deep into it because I don't really pay too much attention to meltdowns and stuff like that. But NoiceGuy, he was basically ready to quit Tarkov, quit content creating. He got to that point. It takes a lot for someone to reach that point, especially with someone who's been doing something as long as he's been doing it for. And I really felt for him. I really felt for him because the only different opinion he had was that he didn't think he was cheating because there wasn't enough evidence to go off. That's it. When I read this, and then Veritas picked it up and talked about it, and he made a twit longer about it and stuff like that, which I'll cover next as well. Crazy, man. Absolutely crazy how so many people came for him. Just, it blows my mind. What NoiceGuy is like such a great guy, not a bad bone in his body. He's just a happy dude who likes reporting and talking about things he loves. And he got that immense hate. Fortunately, he did come around in the end and he took a breather and he came down and said, I'm not quitting, but I am going to take a break from Tarkov because he did say he admitted that he's not enjoying the game right now with a lot of the issues, with the immense amount of cheaters, with the bad audio and stuff like that. Remember, guys, audio being bad, just an opinion, and yours is wrong. So he's leveled out a bit now, and he's going for a bit more of a scorched earth policy when it comes to things like hate, which I respect. At the end of the day, you just don't want to you don't want to deal with that shit. So I don't blame the guy at all for just having to delete all these negative comments or just block them out because they're not worth the time and energy. I mean, when I have an interaction with someone who is genuinely toxic or just there to be like a dickhead, the only thing I really do or say to them is, thank you for your engagement. It helps my growth and algorithm. So, and they never reply to that. They never ever reply to that because they know they fucked up. So, NoiceGuy, Glorious E, Veritas. We've talked about some really, really big key names in the community who have been exposed to the negative parts of the community. And then Veritas then picked up on something. A lot of the people in Veritas's comments, whether it's his stream, YouTube, on the Twitter thread, a lot of those same people who were ripping him and bringing him down completely and utterly did a 180 on NoiceGuy's posts, lifting him up, being really kind, good words and stuff like that. You know, like telling him, oh, it's going to be cool, man. You know, you got this, you know. Like, genuinely, and I can't say this enough, genuinely two-sided, two-faced. Now, I think it's fine when you have a personal dislike of someone. And, you know, especially on the internet, and I know that a lot of people have their own opinions on me, but it's unavoidable. You are going to get people who dislike you. You're going to get people who like you. Sometimes they don't click with you. Sometimes they hear something wrong about you or right about you in some cases. And they'll avoid you. But that goes full circle again with toxic positivity. It goes full circle again. It goes all the way around again to people just wanting negative people to be, well, not negative people, just people who have an issue with certain things, who aren't negative people. They talk about certain things they don't like, but they like the overall thing. And then they're chastised because of it. And it goes so deep. It goes so deep as people will give this treatment to one person they might not like, but a different treatment to another. Two-sidedness is very common on the internet. You know, I've had my own experience with two-sided people. You know, some very close friends that I've had to cut out of my life because of it. Being nice to me, but being shitheads behind my back to other people. But this is so fucked when it's a norm in a community. It's so bad, man. And this is what it all packages up into. This is like I said, I don't think personally that my video talking about me quitting Tarkov and my issue with the community, I don't think this was the trigger for it. Maybe it was. I don't know. I'm not one to call that. I don't have the data to back that up. But when some genuine icons, some genuine pillars of the Tarkov community either suddenly see the issue or talk about the issue or come under fire from these people for not really saying or doing anything particularly out there or saying anything wrong, the point's proven. Case closed, you know. And it's crazy to me how so many people will still ignore this to this day. You know, at the end of the day, Tarkov will always have problems. Always have problems. Even in full release, I believe it will always have problems. You know, and to this day, I still feel myself wanting to go back and play Tarkov. Still to this day. But what point do we have to reach as players, as community members? What point do we have to reach before we have to put our foot down, really put our foot down and say, no, this is not okay. It's not okay to act like this in the community. It's not okay for you as a content creator to be putting yourself out there like this, to be hypocritical against some people, to have one reaction to another person but a different one to another. It's not okay for this. You know, Battle State is a different reason, you know. It's a different reason for them. I've talked about that. I don't really care about it anymore, but this community is going to eat itself alive, I think. It's going to eat itself alive. Because it has been, and anybody who has this perspective of me will tell you the exact same thing. It has been a steady downwards curve for several years now with no upward trends. It's a shame. But this community is going to get worse unless more and more people talk about it, call the issues out, and just bring back some genuine diversity back to the community. Genuine diversity of opinion, genuine diversity where we can have a conversation and not tear each other down. It's going to happen. And, you know, and it's not just something I've talked about recently. A lot of my community members know for a fact. But I've talked about this for years. Going back as far as when Lighthouse came out. Years. Even further than that. I've seen it. I've seen the deterioration of the community firsthand. I felt it. And it's not good. And it's not good, and it's going to continue to not be good unless more and more people talk about it. Say it's not okay for this to happen. At the end of the day, the only ones who can save a community is the community itself. And, you know, some people might be dug too deep and they won't budge. That's fine, but make those the minority, not the majority. Yeah. It really was a shame. It really was a shame seeing so many people, cool people, be just attacked like that. You know, it's one thing when it's me, you know, because I can experience it and deal with it better than other people. You know, Veritas can. Veritas has been getting abused for fucking years, and you know. But seeing people like Glorious, seeing people like NoiceGuy, seeing other streamers who I once respected or have less respect for now at the very least, just completely and utterly just throw themselves at me and tell me I'm wrong without a doubt, with no willingness to talk about the actual things I'm talking about. It really is sad. It really is sad. You know, but it is what it is. But regardless of that, overall, the point has been made. The point has been proven. You know, and I like to think that hopefully the video that I made reached out to some people, gave them a perspective on things, and hopefully it'll help with the good fight, I guess you could say. We'll see. We'll see. Regardless of that, though, you know, I still feel the pull to come back and play Tarkov. Still feel the pull. Admittedly, I think that that's mostly down to there not being anything else to play right now. I'm waiting for Dark and Darker and Cycle Season 3. But yeah. Because I still enjoy playing the game. You just can't enjoy playing the game when you look past the game. When you look at the practices and continuous errors and mistakes PSG make. Or when you look past the game and see the various community, like bad community stuff that's been going right now. It sours my experience. And I don't know when I started doing it, but I started really looking at a game. And even if I like the game, if I don't like what's going on around the game in terms of community and development and stuff like that, I tend to have a less of an opinion on the game. Admittedly, it's ruined a few games I'm sure I would have had fun on with otherwise, but I am honestly thankful for that because, you know, my time is precious and I don't want to waste my time on things that will ultimately turn sour in the end. And Tarkov is the fine example of that. The time isn't wasted, so to speak, but like, God damn it, if I knew what I knew now and had a bit more foresight, I would have made the swap a long time ago. We'll say that. But yes, Dark and Darker is coming out in 20-something days, 23 days, I think, something like that, early February. Cycle Season 3, there will be a video talking about that. It's going to be a separate video because I don't want to bundle it in with the CLAYCAST because that with the news we got about Cycle, that deserves its own video. And I will be talking about my opinions on it, my worries, but also the things I'm looking forward to. That will be in another video entirely. With that being said, guys, I'm going to stop this portion of the stream. I'm going to end this second episode of the CLAYCAST. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. If you liked it and agreed with what I said, if you want to just engage and talk about your own experiences with what I talked about, comments down below. And yeah, regardless of all this, regardless of everything I've talked about, thank you for the support shown on the video about me quitting Tarkov. I got the closure I needed, but a lot of the really nice comments I got and support from you guys and other people helped me gain even more closure. So thank you for that. With that being said, guys, I will leave the CLAYCAST there. See you on the next episode. Take care, stay safe, love you all, and peace.